Hello everyone, Time to Grind here, and today I wanted to talk about Atlas Rogues. And Atlas Rogues is a turn-based roguelite that just came out in early access that piqued my interest mainly because, one, I love roguelites, as I would hope you would all know after watching my channel for a while, but two, there used to be a game called Atlas Reactor that was a ton of fun. It was a PvP turn-based game with a crazy awesome gimmick that was super unique, but I, guess it wasn't profitable enough, so they shut the servers down. And what was so cool about Atlas Reactor was that both players queued up their attacks on their team, and then it all happened at once. So there was kind of like some guessing and predicting what they were going to do, and it was just overall a ton of fun. So when I first saw Atlas Rogues, I was very interested because I wanted that kind of gameplay in a roguelite. However, Atlas Rogues is just a normal turn-based roguelite with some cool elements from Atlas Reactor, but not the main parts I wanted, and instead it has some parts that I absolutely don't like. So I know that's a lot to unpack at first, so let's just start with how the game works. You start out by choosing 4 members on your team, and they all have unique kits and abilities and personalities. And this is one of the best parts about the game, hands down. You have all these amazing and unique characters that all have really fun and cohesive kits, that they took from Atlas Reactor, and so this part of the game is great. You're then shown several different missions you can take on. There are some jobs that are like events or shops that'll give you different things, but the main meat of the game are the missions that will start the combat, obviously. And most of the missions just have you killing all the enemies in the area. And how that works is each of your characters get 2 actions. Firstly, you can move a certain distance and then you can attack. You can run further than your normal movement allows as a sprint action if you want, but that takes up both your movement and attacking actions. Also, most of your characters have a specific free attack they can use that has a decently long cooldown, but you can use it without wasting your attack action. So with your starting 4 characters, one of them can mark an area with a huge rocket that, she shoots and it'll land next turn. One guy throws some caltrops on the ground, another creates a wall that hurts enemies that walk through it, and the big mech tank guy gets his suit ready to attack nearby enemies. And this part is really, really cool. I absolutely love the abilities everyone has, and it's very satisfying to use them to kill the enemies and kind of plan and prepare and stuff like that. And after you do a turn, all the enemies get a turn and then it goes back to you. So kind of just like a normal turn-based game you would play like XCOM. And you just keep doing this until you kill all the enemies or you all die and then you lose the run. And if just one of your people die, you can revive them in-game or once the mission is over, but it automatically takes away one of your revives and you have a limited amount of those. So once you beat a mission, you get a variety of loot, from currency to talent points, which you can use to give your heroes new talents, and how this works is actually pretty cool. First, you have to choose one of 2 random talents from tier 1 for each character, and after you do that on every single character, you're then getting to start choosing one of 2 random talents from tier 2 for all the characters, and you keep doing that on and on and on, the more talent points you get. You can also find offensive, defensive, and utility items that all give different stats or abilities, and you can put these on your characters, and each person has room for 1 offensive, 1 of those defensive, and 1 of the utility items. You can also get more trust from these 3 different factions, and if you get 1 to 100%, you can do a huge event for them. And as you do more events and missions, time passes and the game gets harder and harder by adding new modifiers to the game to make it more challenging. And when you lose the run, in terms of the roguelite progression, it comes in the form of unlocking new talents and items and events and even new characters for future runs. And so at its core, the game is very promising. I really like the abilities all the characters have, though I will say I really, really wish they had kept in the coolest part about Atlas Reactor, which was all of the combat happening at once. If they could have had it where you queued up all of your actions and then the enemy did it as well and then it just does it all at once, that would have been so much cooler to me and so much more unique to me. But either way, it's promising enough, so I'm going to try not to dwell too much on the past. I will say the game is super, super unpolished, and it did just come out in early access, but there's spelling errors all over the place, the UI for the inventory and talent systems are not great, there's bugs and crashes, and just the world and graphics themselves could use a little bit more color in my opinion, but that specific part's kind of just a preference thing. And one thing I do want to mention in this game is it does have online co-op if that interests you at all. I was unfortunately not able to try it out, but I have heard that currently, as of just coming out in early access, there are some bugs and crashes that are accompanying with it that are making it not the smoothest, type of way to play the game. And my biggest complaint with the game, hands down, isn't really anything with the gameplay, but instead the fact that the game is an always online game, even if you just want to play single player. So when you download the game, even on Steam, it downloads a whole nother client that you have to sign in on, and you just straight up cannot play the game solo offline. And this would be one thing if it was like a huge AAA title studio and you were fairly confident that the servers would stay up for at least a couple of years. You know, it's still not great at all, and I would still hate it in those situations, but this is from a company that literally shut down the servers for their last game. So if this game doesn't do well or they stop making money, they can just shut down the servers, and everyone that bought the game like myself in order to just play single player can't even play the game anymore. So for that reason in itself, it makes it really, really hard to recommend the game. And so as it stands right now, Atlas Rogues is a really promising game that does a lot right. The characters and the talent point system and just the overall concept of a turn-based roguelite are all really cool, but there are way too many things holding the game back, like the bugs and crashes and lack of polish and the always online DRM and more. So if you are crazy into roguelites and also crazy into turn-based combat games like XCOM, I think you could get some enjoyment out of it even as it stands right now, but overall I would wait for the full launch of the game to see kind of how it is still holding up then. But if you have already played Atlas Rogues, or especially if you played Atlas Reactor back in the day, I would love to know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Also, if you want to see more gameplay of the game, I made a Let's Play for Atlas Rogues that I will link to at the end of the video and in the comments and description. And if you're watching this video the day it comes out, then you should stay tuned for a live stream. I'm going to be live streaming at 5 o'clock CST, so it should be in about like an hour or two after this goes public. And if you're watching this after the fact, then if you don't want to miss future live streams, then you should subscribe and ring that bell like all the big boy YouTubers say, as I'm trying to live stream every Saturday. And also, I just make 3 to 6 video reviews and Let's Plays a week, and a large part of them are roguelites, because roguelites are just overall a ton of fun. But if you do decide to get Atlas Rogues and are grinding out some games, I wish you luck, and see you guys next time.